Welcome to the 359. I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
I'm Alfred Ng.
So it ends up deactivating your Facebook account to stop the social network from tracking you doesn't work. Alfred, you looked into this. Tell us what you found out.
Yeah, so I have been deactivating my account every time I log out of Facebook, and instead of just closing the window or anything like that, because I thought that would put a pause on data collection anytime I'm not on Facebook. Turns out that is not true. The only way that Facebook really stops collecting data on you is if you permanently delete it. Now, a lot of people do need Facebook accounts, like I do, because I have to sign up for these 2 workshops every week to get on a college campus. So I have to have my Facebook account. So I thought I'd just reactivate it for those 2 days and come back to it.
But it was a total waste of time.
Yep.
Facebook was still tracking you.
Yeah, did nothing. So Facebook tracks you as if you're still on the social network. And their reasoning behind it is they assume that when you deactivate your account, it means you want to come back. So they keep all the stuff, like they keep tracking you anyway. So like when you come back, if you come back, all the ads and your newsfeed is still like relevant to you. So let's say I go through a basketball phase all of a sudden after I deactivated my account. When I reactivated, all my ads would be like based on basketball now, even though I didn't do that before I deactivated my account.
One of the other interesting aspects, so yes, you could delete your entire Facebook account and that would get rid of a lot of the data that it already has stored on you. But as you mentioned in your story, Facebook is so deeply embedded in the internet at this point that it's still tracking people that didn't ever have Facebook accounts.
So yeah, even if you don't have a Facebook account, they track you based on your browser. Your browser has certain things that identify you. So like, it knows what bookmarks like you have and things like that, your IP address, these kind of small fingerprints of your browser, and they can serve you ads based on just like in your browser itself. So even if you're not on Facebook, Facebook is serving you ads on other websites.
Pretty aggravating.
I think the difference here with these deactivated accounts is people like have this assumption in their mind, like I did, that, if it's deactivated, they're probably not tracking me or tying it to my account. Turns out that is not true.
Nope. In more cheery Facebook news, Facebook and Google reps will be in D.C. today for a hearing on extremists on their sites. We talked a little bit about this at the podcast yesterday, so I kind of want to pose a question to you. From Facebook's perspective, is there anything that you think that they can do to really help them regain trust in the marketplace?
I mean, yeah, I actually do think that this is a problem that they can tackle, but they just never put the resources into it. This is specifically tied to like white nationalists, white supremacists, racists that have been using Facebook and YouTube to grow an audience and grow a massive platform. And people have died because of these kinds of views. I mean, this is all in a response to the shooting in New Zealand. And people like to equate this to essentially ISIS. I think that's why, you describe it as an extremist platforming. And yeah, YouTube and Facebook have done an excellent job at curbing ISIS from their platforms. And I think a lot of people are arguing that they should give the same treatment to white nationalists.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's turn to some slightly funner news about Twitter, which is obviously a bastion of social network positivity. But anyway, Jack Dorsey got paid $1.40 last year from the company. Isn't that cute?
I mean, that's what happens when you're a part-time CEO. Like, how much did Square pay him?
I don't know.
We don't know that.
That's a good.
So like
That's a good question. He is a billionaire, though.
Yes.
He's worth several $1 billion. So don't feel bad for Jack Dorsey. Now for something completely different. The first images of a black hole will be released tomorrow. The lucky black hole in the photo will be Sagittarius A, which sits in the middle of our galaxy. And it will be photographed, or it was photographed, by the Event Horizon Telescope, an array of radio telescopes positioned all over the Earth. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
and you must think that's cool.
Yeah, and then it'll be tagged on Facebook and tracked everywhere it goes.
Ouch. All right, fair enough. That's true. If you want to read more about these stories, check them out on CNET. I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
I'm Alfred Ng.
Thanks for listening.
Boy, just when you thought we couldn't jam anything more into 4 minutes, allegedly 4 minutes.
Dude, I was only 20 minutes over.
Yeah, that was like
I was 20. I was 20 seconds
minutes
over. Sorry, not
you said
20
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah, the
I know I did.
4 minute and 20 second show.
Well, anyways, go ahead, everybody. Start sending in your questions and comments, and we can keep the conversation going about today's topics at hand. Michael Brown was all over this one. He says he saw the headline as soon as we launched the video stream. He says, immediately disgusted. What can users do then? Feels like we just can't get away from our data being mined. I've tried many things to keep this from happening, but it's really hard for the everyday user. He goes on to expand. He says, as personalities on CNET, how do you feel about Facebook's antics? Not as a journalist, but as a internet user and a U.S. citizen. Go ahead, guys.
You want to go first?
Well, I'll just say that I'm not only a personality on CNET, but also a personality in real life. And I understand that Facebook's got to make its money, and they want to make as much of it as possible, and they're doing that through user data and getting as much of that as possible, even if you're not a user on the social network. They are also connecting you and your friends, which is why so many people have to use it. A lot of people over the last year have given the advice of delete Facebook or delete your account or something like that, but I don't think that's sound advice. I do know that social media is not a necessity. You can do things without it. Theoretically, could I sign up for these workshops without Facebook? Yeah, I could get a friend's phone number and text him or her and tell him, please sign me up for this on who has a Facebook account. But it's just these small pressure points and pain points in life that it's just kind of all right, a lot of people have to make this choice of, do I value my data privacy or do I value my convenience? And most of the times, your convenience is going to win out.
Yeah. I mean, that was a very balanced response. I think that a lot of the information that's been coming out about Facebook, particularly over the last 2 years, also about Google, Twitter, a lot of the companies that make their money selling ads online, I think it's really important, the conversation that we're having. I think the issues of data privacy are really important, and the amount of money that these companies make and also the amount of data that they're collecting, those are really important things to discuss. And as a person, I would like more control over my data. I think Europe is doing a better job with that. I would hope that the United States catches up. I know we're having the right kinds of conversations, but ultimately, during a lot of these hearings, sometimes we're watching them and the questions seem a little off. Sometimes they don't seem as savvy as maybe they should be when they're really trying to pin down these tech executives who seem to know a lot more about this information. And I think a lot of people, rightly so, are very skeptical about Washington being able to get anything done related to data privacy.
It's unfortunate because a lot of people did look at deactivation as sort of an opt-out kind of feature, to opt out of Facebook collecting your data at all times, but basically saying, I only want Facebook collecting my data when I'm actively using it, which is fair because that's kind of Facebook's argument. If you're going to be using our platform, you kind of agree for us to collect your data, right?
And we're going to serve you more targeted
but
ads, which some people appreciate, honestly, as opposed to somebody serving me Depends diapers every single time I go on Facebook.
But if I'm not on, I think a reasonable person would believe that if you're not on it or if you've deactivated your account, you shouldn't be keeping track of that or anything like that. And I think that's what comes as the problem here is that they viewed this as an opt-out when it turns out really the only opt-out is not having an account at all. And a lot of privacy advocates would argue that that is not a feasible opt-out. It's like telling somebody, if you don't like this class at our school, you can go to a different school, but the only other school is some podunk it's not.
Which is why it's interesting. The FTC is doing a whole task force to try to figure out if hey, should we be breaking up Facebook? Because when you're talking about other potential sources, there isn't really a very good other potential Facebook. But if they broke it up and made Instagram its own company, that would get you a little bit closer, potentially.
Yeah. It's gotten to the point where a few of, two friends that I know have, they've deleted their Facebook, but they want to keep in touch with friends, right? And they're making newsletters for themselves. That's their personal life. They ask their friends to sign up for their newsletter, and then they'll just send that instead. I'm I don't want to read that either, dude.
That's kind of cool. I like that. Email is the new thing, I guess. I don't know. Let's get to more questions.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's take one from Yanhao Chen. Actually, I was wondering, can Facebook actually track my browsing activities when I'm not using Facebook on my iPhone? I would assume Apple would not allow that in their iOS.
Yeah, so you're using Safari browser, which last year at, I believe it was WWDC. If it wasn't, it was another Apple event where they mentioned how Safari is changing to change a lot of the ways that your browser tracks you. So they make a generic browser fingerprint now, as opposed to what I mentioned during the show, like when you have browser fingerprints, like based off your bookmarks, your IP address, like your search history and things like that. They make a generic one, so everyone that browses off of Safari looks exactly the same.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
I will say this, though. It has been a year since I wrote that story, and the tracking market is very much like a cat and mouse game where somebody will come up with some privacy tool to protect you, and then
There's so much money to be made that only makes sense. That they would try to figure out how to game it.
Think about how long your ad blocker worked before like some websites like, hey, we noticed you have an ad blocker. Please turn that off, or you can't view our website.
Correct.
But yeah, they should not be able to do it through OS, like specifically iOS. Like if you're using the Safari browser, Chrome browser, that might be a little bit different because they link your activity from like if you're using Chrome on your desktop and then you start using Chrome on your phone, like they link that activity, and then Facebook might be able to like link those two browsers together.
Next question is coming again from our friend Michael Brown. I think it shouldn't be convenience versus privacy. Is privacy not a right? Why can't we have both? Signal and iMessage are convenient. Is there any way that we can be on a do not track list, like a do not call list?
They made that, but it's not. It doesn't like there's a
The do not call list
advertise.
doesn't
Yeah,
work
the do not
either.
call list. First of all,
really
doesn't
work
work
very well.
It's FTC supported. I commented about this to one of my followers. But yeah, it's FTC supported, but like it's not enforced. Like people like I've been on the do not call list and called, and there is like a do not track list that just doesn't work. Like they'll still advertise to you based off of like your like data that they track off of you.
Yeah, the problem with the do not call list is that the like the bad actors that aren't going to follow the rules, that are doing shady stuff to begin with, they don't care about the do not call list, and it's very difficult to track them and to shut them down. So the do not track list, maybe that would be more effective because we know which companies we would try to prevent.
Yeah.
It would be like your Facebooks, your Googles, whatever. But when you go back to the cat and mouse game, it doesn't really take very long to figure out that they would then just create satellite companies or link with like shadier operations and get the data that way.
That's the other thing too. In like the data collection world, there are like mountains of companies that are offering to do this that like you've never heard of, that like work with like Facebook and Google and things like that. And yeah, you're never going to hear of them because they're not these like big companies you interact with on a daily basis.
Yeah. Like basically the only way you can prevent your data from being tracked is to just only have in-person conversations. So Michael, I'll come down to, I think you live in DC. We'll just have a conversation every morning and then I'll drive back home and that'll be really simple.
Yep.
No problem.
And then you can just give me the history of everything that you've looked up, and then we can figure out what the best kind of catalogs to give you are.
Sure.
I think the only surefire way to protect your data anymore is to have never gotten on the internet in the first place.
That is not true. Because
look at all this information we have about a baby that was just born.
I mean, there's interesting stuff like, at the Atlantic and the Washington Post being written about this, about like mommy bloggers and parent like vloggers on like YouTube and Instagram accounts where they like post all these baby photos but then like the kids grow up and then they're like 12 or 13 and they find themselves like all these photos of themselves, like even currently they're like 13, 14 years old and the mom and dad are still posting photos of them without their permission.
Yeah, I know somebody, like folks have written about this. I think Joanna Stern wrote about this recently. And she was like, it's okay to put an emoji on the kid's face or to black out their face. I never thought that worked because it always looks like the kid committed a crime somehow, or like it just seems
kids can commit crimes, dude. Like
it just seems a little weird to me that that's the solution, but whatever.
People between the ages of 11 and 15 commit all the crimes you want. It's totally cool. This is endorsed by CNET.
No, don't listen to him. Stay in school, kids.
But yeah, the point is that like, yeah, even if you're not online, like other people can post photos. Like I'm sure that there are children in like facial recognition databases.
Yeah, this is really pissing me off. I'm not very happy with this.
Yeah. Welcome to my life. Now you know why I'm angry all the time.
Yes, now I know.
All right, moving on. Get some more questions in here before we run out of time. There's really good ones coming through here, guys. Maniac618 asks, Facebook owns Oculus. The Oculus Quest and S are coming. How much is mined from the VR headsets?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's actually a good question. I know that in the past I've written about VR vulnerabilities, which don't pop up a lot, but like there are definitely security issues with that. I would say at most they're definitely mining, what you're buying, when you're playing.
What you're playing.
Yeah, like they're collecting that kind of data. But as far as, from the head, like you talking to your friend, like in VR, because I know there are games like that. I don't know. I don't know if they're like mining the audio or anything like that.
That would be really creepy. I think that would probably be a real trust issue if that was happening, that they're trying to listen in on the audio. But it's a really good question, and it's probably something we could look into.
Just can't wait to find out that Facebook's been hearing me do really bad renditions of Steely Dan songs all this time. Michael Brown asks, Alfred, do you think Facebook provides such convenient features that warrant its recent behaviors? Do you think you can't join groups or workshops without your data being mined?
Like I said, I think I can. So the biggest reason why I have it is I go to a college campus like twice a week. And to get on the campus, like get past security, you have to be on a guest list. The only way that they do the guest list is through a Facebook sign up page. Like it's a group that you go in and then like you sign up there. So I will activate my account, go on, sign up, then deactivate it. Doesn't do anything anymore, as my article has turned out. But yeah, if I didn't do that, I know I don't have to do that. Like I know that I can, just text a friend like, hey, can you sign me up because you have a Facebook account, and they let people like sign other people up. But it's kind of annoying to have to do that every day. I don't want to bother my friend to do that every day.
So you're probably just gonna.
I don't want to make it I don't want to make me being off of Facebook someone else's problem. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, and there's definitely if they had a Signal group for this page, like I would totally do that. Like I would sign up through Signal instead. They don't.
We're not really there yet.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like there are alternatives to these to Facebook, but they're not massive platforms that everyone is on, and that's where the convenience come in. Is like everyone else is already on that.
Yeah.
Next question is from Mark Dibble. He says, I've been off Facebook for over 5 years. Does this affect me at all?
Yes.
Are you off as in deleted or deactivated?
Good question on how to differentiate
Because if it's been deactivated, it does affect you, as in they've still been tracking you the last 5 years.
Yeah, but still, it probably from, I don't know, like a sense of like time savings or maybe not dealing with a lot of political rhetoric.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. It's like I see those studies like everybody else does about social media stressing people out and creating division. So if you're off Facebook for 5 years, hopefully you've also not spent as much too much time on Twitter.
I will say this, that it has been beneficial for me to keep it deactivated anyway, despite this data collection, only because it adds an extra step when you want to log into Facebook. And I know a lot of people sometimes have this like instinctive like web cycle that they go through, where it's like, oh, let me check what's going on Facebook. Okay, now let me check what's going on CNET. All right, now let me see what's happening on Reddit. And then like it kind of just loops.
Yeah. Way to stick CNET in there.
People kind of just have this like muscle memory when it comes to like being online. So I've definitely typed in Facebook.com while on Facebook. I know people have done that.
I haven't done that exactly, but I totally hear you. I've done similar things.
But having a deactivated account like adds an extra step to that, because like I'll type in Facebook and then I'll go and it's like tells me to like log in again, and I'm like, oh yeah, and then I just close it out. Like I just end the cycle that way. So even though they're still tracking your data, like having a deactivated account definitely minimizes your time on Facebook. So if you value that, also it keeps your profile like hidden from a lot of people. That was the big reason why I was deactivating it. I wanted to only have friends in this college workshop group, but then other people were adding me that like, hey, I saw you deleted your old account. Can you add me again?
Buddy.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't want to add you, but I didn't want to like reject them or anything, so I just like deactivated my whole account. So yeah, now they can't friend request me either.
Good. Yeah, just like me.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's a couple questions from Cher. What kind of protection do you get when you use VPN? Or how about hardware firewalls? Do they even help with this situation?
Best as I can tell, you have to pay for a good VPN.
Wait, is this like they act like Cher? Because she's called in on a lot of shows.
Yeah, it's Cher again.
It's Cher.
Like she's called in on C-SPAN. It's hilarious. But anyway,
I'm pretty sure it's not real Cher. But
could
if it
be.
is,
She's
I'm
very
a huge
online.
fan.
Anyway, yeah, a VPN's not really going to do that much for you. VPNs are mostly to protect your Wi-Fi from any kind of tracking, but it would tell Facebook you're somewhere that you're not. Like if you have a VPN and you set it to a server somewhere in like China or India or Russia or any place like Canada, Mexico, etc.
But it would still be you.
Yeah.
It just hides your location.
Yeah.
So it's more from Wi-Fi and ISP.
Yeah. Basically.
Okay.
There was a second question, right?
Firewalls. Does a hardware firewall
Yeah, hardware
protect you in this?
firewalls are more for like outside traffic coming in. Like if you're downloading something, if you're trying to access a page that your firewall has like flagged, that's more like firewalls are more for malware. So I wouldn't say that this is really doing anything.
Yeah, you're screwed.
I was waiting for Ben's retort. I thought you were going to have something good.
I did, very slowly.
Boy, oh boy, we got some good ones coming in from Storm King. Can Facebook still
Storm
track
King.
people if you only use Instagram? And how does breaking up Facebook actually increase user security?
Good questions.
As always.
Yeah, of course they're tracking you if you're
Yeah.
only on Instagram. It's
Yeah.
part of Facebook.
Yeah, they track you in different ways, but it's all going in the same.
They're
tool.
tracking you.
Yeah,
I think it's safe to say that if you have any questions and you're watching the show, is Facebook tracking me in X situation? Yes. The answer is generally yes. So that's why we put it as the headline, because it's mostly true. Or it's like there are probably some very small exceptions to that,
Yeah.
but in general they're embedded in the internet. They're
it
tracking
really
you.
is just about to the degree of how much they're tracking you. So like if you're not a user on Facebook, like you've never made an account or anything like that, they track you through your browser, but they don't like track you and like tie it back to, oh, okay,
Now we're going to serve you ads
Alfred likes
specifically.
like
yeah.
skateboards. Like it's just like this user on this browser likes skateboards. But if I have a Facebook account and it's deactivated, it's like, oh yeah, Alfred likes skateboards, but like he doesn't have an active account currently. But they still tie it back to my account.
Can you repeat the second question from Storm King?
Storm
about
King
the
asks,
breakup.
how exactly does breaking up Facebook increase user security?
Okay, so I think that it's kind of like a two-step type of situation where if you were going to break up Facebook and create a credible competitor in the marketplace, in theory, that could improve user security because Instagram or WhatsApp would want to amp up security to try to get more people on their site as opposed to Facebook.
Also, I think that, the way that Facebook is structured currently, if everything is all together under like one roof, well, at least that's what they want to do. Like Mark Zuckerberg talks about wanting to have a messenger for Facebook, WhatsApp, and Messenger at the same time. Like you can talk across like all three of the platforms that they own. The idea is like if there's a vulnerability or that exposes your account on like one of those platforms, it could lead to every single one of them. So I think the argument is that they want to keep them like fragmented for that purpose, or like split them up even more than they already are.
Yeah. Yeah. So you would be able to protect your information in that it's not all housed in one.
Yeah. Like
one
think
place.
about WhatsApp right now is probably the furthest away from like the rest of Facebook. So their like messages are all encrypted end to end. And then when the WhatsApp CEO, the founder, had left from Facebook, he like mentioned he gets on this whole big like delete Facebook campaign now. All of a sudden, he walked away from the company that he founded after Facebook bought it, and now is actively speaking out against Facebook. I think that says something.
Oh, it definitely says something. It's very hard not to say, like those like from the tech industry, Facebook has been knocked worse than I would say anybody by far. So it doesn't surprise me that WhatsApp's founder would take that type of position because Facebook is just struggling with all sorts of things these days.
But I think the concept is like WhatsApp was built on like privacy.
Yep.
and the messages are encrypted like end to end. So even if Facebook wanted to serve you ads based off of it, they couldn't. But who's to say that they can't change that like somewhere down the line?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people were waiting for that to
Yeah.
change, and luckily it hasn't happened yet because I use WhatsApp a lot, and it would be a giant pain in the ass to switch all my friends over to Signal or Telegram, which is why we haven't yet.
Yeah.
Man, this has been such a great discussion. Thank you to, sorry, I lost it. Oh, Yen Hao Chen again. He says, this is a broad topic. I hope you guys do a part 2 on this. I'm sure we're going to be able to expand on this as things continue to develop. I'm going to go ahead and just say it. Bring back MySpace. We only have a couple of minutes left. Let's try to slam through a couple things here. Mahmoud Fahim asks, what does Facebook exactly get from tracking its users? Ryan expands, saying, what is the worst thing that's being done with privacy? Our data is getting sold for marketing. As long as no one steals my identity or my kid's identity, I don't really mind.
Go for it.
I'm sorry. So the first question is,
what does Facebook actually get from tracking users? Like, what
So-
is the value of data?
Facebook likes to make this point about how they don't sell your data. Like they're not going to sell to an advertiser like, here's this data on Ben, or here's this data
like
on
epic
Brian.
semantics.
So yeah, but that's like a very like workaround way to say what they really do is, so Facebook makes most of its money through ad targeting. So say I own a bike shop or something like that, and I want to sell ads for bicycles, or want to make an ad for bicycles. So
In a
people,
specific area for a specific age group.
yeah.
Right,
So
with a specific income.
yeah, so Facebook then knows that, oh, Ben lives near this bike shop, and Ben has uploaded a photo of bicycles before, or in his time browsing on Amazon, looked at a bike handle or something like that. We're going to send this ad to Ben and, I don't know, 80,000 other people that like are just like him. And that's basically what Facebook gets with its data tracking.
And that's why they make so much money. Basically, it's a much more specific and targeted way of advertising to users, where you basically fill out a consumer survey that they then feed you ads based off of. And it's entirely different than like if you're watching broadcast television, that's just a shotgun blast form of advertising. They generally know who's watching those shows, but it's not nearly as specific.
Yeah.
And so you're just, that's why when you're watching The Price is Right on CBS,
Shut up.
you're seeing like a lot of like stuff that has no relevance to your life because you're just watching Price is Right on a sick day. But, that generally doesn't happen on Facebook. And that's why a lot of people are perfectly fine with it. Like they don't really mind getting their data tracked because they're getting more specific ads that are more relevant to their life.
And as far as the second question goes, what's the worst that could happen with my data or my privacy being taken? I mean, you look at something like Cambridge Analytica, which broke like March last year, and the idea was like these people just took these quizzes to find out like what your personality type was or something like that. But then from that, they were able to figure out, oh, we should target to these people for political ads and tell them like, and a lot of people were influenced by that to like vote a certain way because of these like ad targeting. And it's things like that, you don't really think about like how much advertising can affect like your mindset or anything like that. But I think it's all these like microcosms that go on with what you see and like how you act because of that. I think there was they do this survey a lot, but like they do it at the voting booth where it's essentially like most of the times the person that like won, if this is local elections, not like for president or anything like that, but like they won because they had seen their name pop up the most. And yeah, like advertisements do that. And they know how to advertise based to like specific people that are most likely to vote for like a candidate or anything like that. And that's just with Cambridge Analytica. There are like certainly a lot more issues like surrounding like your data privacy over that.
No, totally. I mean, look, ads work. Of course ads work. Otherwise, why are they spending so much money on ads? You are getting influenced by ads and you're like barraged by them every single day. So I think it's totally logical to have this type of conversation to see how much information Facebook has on you, what type of ads they're serving you, why they're serving you those types of ads, because that's like they're the world's biggest social network. And yeah, it's really interesting to kind of delve into this. So thank you very much for writing that story.
Yeah, great reporting on this. Needless to say, we're not going to have time to get to everybody's questions today, but what a fantastic discussion. I'm actually looking forward to more of this. Maybe in a little bit down the line. I can't believe it's been a year since Cambridge Analytica, and things have only gotten worse.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I think today was the 1-year anniversary of Mark Zuckerberg testifying to Congress, actually.
Oh, man, those are some really good memes. I hope he testifies again.
I mean, well, Facebook is testifying today, just not Mark.
Yeah.
Yep.
Last but not least, Polo Misty is asking, how exactly can you fully, cleanly, permanently delete Facebook?
So when you go to your, because I do this every day, or every time I like have to sign up for this workshop. So when you go to your settings, you go to like manage your account or something like that, and then they'll have deactivate up top and then delete underneath that. Go to delete, and then like they'll like show you photos of your friends and be like, hey,
whoa.
they do that actually. They really do that.
That
Where
is
it's like,
messed up.
are you sure you want to leave? Josh is really gonna miss you. And I'm getting out of here. And then you just follow the steps from there. So they give you 30 days in case you change your mind to come back to Facebook.
Because you know you will.
Fun fact, turns out that during those 30 days, they still keep tracking your activities. You're basically in a deactivated state until those 30 days are up. And then it's permanently deleted. And then Facebook stores your data still for up to, they say for like up to 2 months, just for like any other purposes. I think there's things like criminal investigations that could go on, like they don't want to like get rid of that evidence like immediately or anything like that. So yeah, that's
so
how
it's
you
basically, yeah. So you delete, and then 3 months down the line, the information is gone. Like
and
they
then
actually get rid of the information.
And then they're only tracking you through your browser.
Yes.
And ads on other websites.
Fantastic.
You'll be back. You'll all be back tomorrow when we have the next episode of the 359. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thanks for sending in so many great questions and comments. The chat's still filling up, and I'm sorry we just ran out of time. But yeah, we'll be back with more of this, certainly, because Facebook continues to be awful. Ben, want to take us out of here?
Okay, yes. The 359 is available on iTunes. TuneIn. Sorry, I couldn't see it. You'd think I know how to do this by now. iTunes, TuneIn, FeedBurner, Stitcher, Google Play Music, Google Podcast, the Amazon Echo, and of course, CNET.com. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.